Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Life Health Show. I just wanted to come on here and give everybody an update. I've been doing all these wonderful interviews with a bunch of people that have been eating either a vegan diet or taking it to a raw diet and doing that for a long time. And these videos are done to really help people understand it's possible to eat in ways that the world calls extreme, but are really not extreme according to from a health standpoint. And it's confusing out there because there are a lot of people promoting a lot of different things. Even within the raw food movement, there are a lot of people promoting things that are different. And everyone appears to have some sort of success. On my Bible channel, I'm talking about now about why we shouldn't be eating meat and shouldn't be animals from a spiritual standpoint. And I get a lot of kickback because of the things like the carnivore diet and people trying it and having success and seeing results. And then there are people doing all the different types of diets and having results. Here's the thing, folks. No matter what you try, if you're trying something, chances are you're going to have some sort of results, because the key to a result is doing better than what you were doing. So somebody who's, just looking at the small picture, not the big picture, might see somebody overweight, sick, and tired. But we're not looking at the big picture, which is, well, where were they before? Maybe they weighed more. Maybe they were sicker, and maybe they were more tired. So what direction is a person going in? And that's what we have to think about and look at. But we also have to understand, depending where our starting point was and where we have to be, we might be doing better than we were, but that doesn't mean it's going to get us to the point we need to be at. So if somebody was eating McDonald's every day and now they're just eating McDonald's every other day, they're going to show slight results, most likely. But eating at McDonald's every other day is by no means healthy, or as healthy we could be. It's healthier than what somebody was doing, or not as bad as what somebody was doing, but it doesn't mean it's the healthiest way to go. And I've looked at many different types and ways of eating and many different diets, and researched this and interviewed a lot of people. And from my understanding and from what I've seen, and this is me personally, if your idea and your walk has been different, you have to experience that for where you are in your life. Some people say, well, one diet's not for everyone, or one way of eating is not for everyone. And I don't necessarily know if that's true, because our bodies are all designed in a similar way. The key is, it's socially, psychologically, what a person's willing to do, able to do, and what a person believes in what they're doing. That has a big determination factor on if that's good for them, because people can convince themselves that anything is good for them. But when we look at it from a scientific standpoint, from a standpoint of the way the body works, the way we were designed, what diet is best for us. And I broke it down many times, the formula for health. The formula for health is giving our body the things we need while having as least waste left over for the body to have to work and get rid of it. Those are the ideal foods for our body. The formula for health is power minus obstruction equals vitality. So to give our body the most nutrients while having a little amount of waste left over and making the body work to get rid of it. That's the ideal diet. Foods that put ourselves in that situation. And then we have to look at the other non-dietary factors, such as getting enough sleep, getting enough exercise, our mental thinking, our attitude, our emotional state. All of these things have a part of our health. So we need to take all these things into consideration. We can't just say, well, that person's eating this way and they look healthy. Looking healthy and even feeling healthy is part of the big picture. But when it comes to diet, the ideal foods on every level for our bodies would be, right even in the scripture, it says in the beginning of time in Genesis 1:29. It's so simple, folks, but it's so complicated because the world's different opinions and everything else. The food for man is the fruit, and the medicine for man is the herbs, the vegetables. That is it right there. The fruit, and the herbs accomplish the formula for health, giving our body the most nutrients while using the least amount of energy to get those nutrients. And all the nutrients our body needs and can use. Now, some people would say, well, if the fruits and vegetables are so good for us, why do we need supplements or vitamins or things like this? And the reality is we don't. Everything we need can be found in plant-based or foods, fruits, and vegetables. However, That's not always accessible to us where we live. And we have a decision to make in that point. We can somehow, some way, either go to where the food is or get the food sent to us, but it's much more convenient of having the food maybe powdered down and sent to us. So it's like now a whole food in the supplement form. You know, there are vegetarian foods in the world that have vitamin B12, that have iron, that have, all the things that our body needs. K2, vitamin K2. The sun, we get vitamin D. But if we can get all that in a bottle or something to make sure we're getting what we need, it makes sense to just do that, just in case. Just do that. You know, somebody eating any other type of foods than just fruits and vegetables, they would be wise to take supplements as well based on their blood work and what they're doing and how they're doing. And, we don't need much, but we need to make sure that, we're putting our bodies in a situation to get enough rest and healing. The key really, here's the key and here's the problem. I've been eating a raw vegan diet now for 30 years. For 30 years. There's a channel online with some lady who's obsessed with eating meat, and she says, well, I really haven't been eating it for 30 years because there were a couple of years in between that I added some goat milk to my diet. So I haven't been eating a vegan diet for 30. I didn't stop eating this way. I had a couple of cups of goat milk for 2 years in between, and I found out that wasn't good and that wasn't working. But I didn't stop eating a raw vegan diet. So for 30 years, I've been eating this way. And here's the absolute key and most important thing you need to understand. All health on every single level, except like a physical accident. My diet's nothing's going to happen if I drop a big weight on my foot's going to hurt. If I break my leg, eating a carrot's not going to change that. So unless it's like a physical accident, all health, when it comes from a diet standpoint, from a health standpoint, from a disease standpoint, everything is based on this one factor. Your body was designed and created to get healing during your sleep and your rest. If you give your body the proper amount of time to get the complete amount of time of sleep and rest that it needs, you are going to be healthy. It's like your cell phone. You plug it in, it recharges. But if you forget to plug it in one night, it doesn't recharge, and you're running on a half battery. You want to make sure your body has the complete amount of rest that it needs. Now, here's the thing. Remember earlier when I said the ideal foods are going to give your body the nutrients it needs by using the least amount of energy to get them, right? Well, when you overconsume your food, when you eat the food that's more than you need, you're giving your body a situation where it needs to work to get rid of those extra waste left over, that extra food that's left over and everything else. And when you do that, your body has to work harder. And more energy is used in digestion than any other process of the human body. Basically, to get right down to it, the more you eat and the worse you eat, the more you are going to create a need for more healing, meaning you need more sleep and rest to heal from the extra work your body has to do. In most situations, there's not enough time for the body to get the proper amount of rest of sleep. If we're living our daily lives and doing the things we do, there's just not enough time to fit it all in. So most people will sacrifice their healing, their sleep. They'll sacrifice that, and they need some drug, a caffeine or something to just stay awake throughout the day. And that's it. You want to give your body enough nutrients with the least amount of energy used to get those nutrients, so you're not requiring more healing time, more sleep. These ideas of we need to get this amount of sleep or this amount of sleep. No, it's all determined by how much you're making your body work. The harder you have to work, the more recovery time you need. When it comes from a diet standpoint and digestion, which takes more energy than anything else, that is the big factor. And when you eat a diet of fruits and vegetables, especially raw fruits and vegetables, you're giving your body the situation where it's getting a tremendous amount of nutrients with very little left over of waste, and the body's going to use less energy to get what it needs. So this is why I'm very careful about telling people to be careful not to overeat. If you're overweight, you're overeating. So that's something to keep in mind. But overeating is a major cause of disease. Now, when it comes to disease, there's only two real causes of disease from a dietary standpoint. And there are other causes, such as the environmental pollutants and other things we might do unaware of. But the two major causes of disease is overeating and undereating, right? So we got to make sure we get the right point. The most common cause is overeating, eating too much, creating a need for our body to get more healing time and more recovery time, more rest, which our body doesn't have enough time to in today's society. So then we put ourselves in a complete depletion, and then we get into exhaustion of all the organs of the body, and we just wear ourselves out. And many of the diseases out there are a result of this. It's eating too much, too often, and too late. I wrote a book called The Daylight Diet, which talks about eating at the wrong times, not just about what we're eating, but when we're eating. Eating too late, eating late at night, another major cause of disease because it takes more work, and that's when the body's supposed to be healing and healing, not digesting. So we shouldn't be eating late at night. But that's the key right there. It's disease is going to be from over consuming, whatever it is. And you can overconsume fruits and vegetables as well. Don't be fooled. But the sense of food is so perfect, it's not going to create much waste left over. So if you're overeating on fruit and vegetables versus overeating on candy or meat, it's not going to be as detrimental. It's not going to create a need for that much more sleep. And some people might say, well, I eat a bad diet and I don't need much sleep. Well, without knowing it, your body might have, or your diet might have much stimulation in it, or you might require stimulation, coffee or some other type of caffeine or something just to stay awake, or drug or something to stay awake. Now, the other side of that is a deficiency. If you're not giving your body enough of something, that's another problem. So that's why you want to make sure you're getting enough of something, because your body will have to work extra hard to find out where to get it from if you're not getting it. So if you're not getting enough of a nutrient, your body has to figure out, well, where can I get this nutrient from? And it often has to take it from somewhere else. And this is where many times these deficiencies will create organ malfunctioning and lack of energy in your body and so on. So the tricky thing is overeating and undereating have the same symptom. Because in one, you have an excess and your body's trying to get rid of something extra. And in the other, you have a deficiency and your body has symptoms that might appear to be excess detox systems, but in fact, they're deficiency systems. So it's helpful to monitor your blood work to know what you're doing and if it's working for you and so on, and to understand how to read the blood work, because the standard blood tests come from the standard world, and the ranges are going to change and be different for somebody who is eating and living a healthy diet. But the answer is, and this is why I said it comes from overeating, overconsuming, and undersleeping, is because it's very difficult to undereat. It's very difficult to be malnourished when you compare it to overeating and having too much. It's very possible, and it's quite common in people's lives that aren't eating a balanced diet. But if you're eating a fresh diet of fruits and vegetables, it's very common that you're going to get the nutrients you need. And the problem is often going to be from over-consuming. But regardless, both of them are real causes of disease, and we have to know how to identify one over the other to know how to treat it. So if you're showing symptoms of the disease, whether it's from a cold to a diagnosis of some disease, you want to look at your diet, number one. You want to look at your blood work, number two. First, make sure it's not a deficiency in something. You're not lacking something. If you are, get it. Try to get it from food, and if you're not getting it from food, take some supplement. Try to get that nutrient. But often it's time of overeating or overdoing something. So the key is not adding something, but deleting something. Usually a fast would be the way to go, to restart yourself, to start all over, to cleanse everything. So, everyone could do a nightly fast or a one-day fast. But if you're going to go longer than that, you just need to read up on it and ease into it and maybe find somebody who has more experience with it. But even a long-term fast can really reset the clock. But a daily fast, a nightly fast will definitely help the situation. And this is why I'm such a believer in intermittent fasting, where you're eating only a few hours throughout the day and you're giving your body all that time to cleanse, and then the next day you're eating again, as opposed to just consistently eating throughout all day. And I think that takes more energy and more work, requiring more sleep and rest. So for years, I would eat often throughout the day and not get enough rest and just be tired. In my videos, I look tired when I look back on those videos. And I felt good from just the consistent stimulation that I was just getting from food in general without even taking stimulants. Food in general is going to stimulate you. And the sugar rushes also. So you don't need a drug to get a stimulation kick. You know, the sugar rushes can kick you also. But when you're eating less and less and less, and from the beginning I've been on this path, 30 years ago till today, I'll never forget the things I've learned, and I wrote in my book, The Raw Life. But after doing this for a couple of years, I met Dr. Fred Bishy, and Dr. Fred Bishy told me something that stuck with me all these years, and this is what I'm going to leave you with is, when you enjoy not eating as much as you enjoy eating, you've reached a special place. I'll say it again. When you enjoy not eating as much as you do eating, you've reached another place. And you can interpret that when you enjoy fasting as much as you do eating, or when you focus is not so much on the food, because food is great pleasure for us, but it shouldn't be the highlight of our day. Okay, we should just be able to be without food and be okay. I just saw something that said, you know, an addiction or worship is when you can't give something up. So it's great to enjoy food, but if you can't go a day without it, chances are there's some sort of addiction there. You should be able to go at least one day without food. If you can't, especially one particular food like coffee, for example, or some people, or meat, for example, some people can't imagine going a day without that. Not a good sign. If you can't give it up, you must give it up and break that addiction and break that habit. I really hope something I said here makes sense to you, and I'm here trying to help you. I recently saw another person who makes videos who's kind of new to eating a raw food diet, or newer than on the newer side, I think 5 years or so. And the person is eating a massive amount of food, and they're overweight. I don't care what diet you're eating. I don't care how you do, whatever you're doing. If you're overweight, you need to be quiet and keep working. Like I said, I'm looking at the big picture. You might have already had an amazing transformation. You might be on the right path, but still you're not there yet. So be quiet and keep learning. And I don't want to say growing, I'll say shrinking if you're overweight. But overweight is not something that should be somebody that should be preaching. You could share your testimonial. That's wonderful. But regardless, the person was saying, oh, look at me that I'm recommending not eating much or not overeating. Look, when it comes to overeating and undereating, especially with fruit, everyone's going to have their own idea what that means. Okay? And it might mean something different at different points in your life. But every person's where they're at. But it's like I said, everybody is created the same way, but they're at different phases of their life. And if somebody has to eat more fruit than I eat or more vegetables than I eat to get to a certain point, great. But I'll go back to it again. When you enjoy not eating as much as you enjoy eating, you've reached a special place of health, usually a special place of spirituality, and often a special emotional place. And I'm not talking about, you're not enjoying not eating if you're getting hangry and you're just like miserable without food. I'm saying when you could enjoy your life without food as much as you do with food. It's a pretty powerful thing. It's a pretty powerful place. I think those of you that have been doing this a long time would agree with me on that. No matter how much I love fruit, I have fruit trees and I love fruit. I have gardens. I love vegetables, but I'm able to go a day without them. And many of the people I know and look up to from the understanding of health will say the same thing. There's nothing wrong with enjoying food. There's nothing wrong with eating food, especially nature's food, the fruits and the vegetables. But we must be able to enjoyably go without the food also and be happy and feel okay with it. It actually helps us to appreciate the food more when we do have it. It's another thing I've learned. All right, everybody, put your comments or questions below. I'm looking forward to the future and seeing what else I learn as I stay on this path. I'm learning so much from the interviews that I'm doing, and I have so many great more interviews to upload. And just make sure whatever you're doing, everybody, you're at peace with what you're doing, and also you're getting enough sleep, and you're waking up vibrant, and you're not tired throughout the day. Until then, everybody, have a great day and a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show.